I was sitting wrapped in a sleeping bag in a low, damp-smelling dugout that had long ago been dug by local hunters. Logs crackled softly in a small clay stove in the corner, releasing a thick smell of smoke and heated clay into the air. This is male solidarity. Hunters always left everything they needed in the dugout when they left, as if they knew that someone else would be in trouble. Surprisingly, my usual anxiety receded. She always retreated when the same storm was raging outside as inside me. It seemed that the world and I were finally starting to beat in the same rhythm. I stopped thinking about my job, about my worthlessness. The flame in the furnace was hypnotic. I don't know how long I sat there. Looking through the tiny cloudy window, I realized that it was starting to get dark. I was in a hurry here when I noticed a thunderstorm coming from the west, and I lost track of time. Now I had to spend the night here. It didn't upset me. On the contrary, I was in the forest, in the warmth, away from the bustling city. But the howling of wolves broke the silence. I listened, and abruptly jumped out of the bag and went to the door. I don't know why, but I pulled both bolts. I don't think the wolves could have handled even one, but I decided to be safe. The howling stopped. I lay down again and pulled the hood over my eyes. The stove crackled, the warmth lulled me, and I almost fell asleep. When suddenly there was a stomp. Deaf. Careful. From the door side. I froze. Silence. Thunder rolled lazily in the distance. The rain was pattering on the roof, like someone throwing a handful of pebbles. But it wasn't an obsession. Again rustling, snuffling, scuffling. Someone was trying to open the door. And suddenly a voice. Low, hoarse, not quite human. Hey, little man, let me warm up. My legs gave out. A lump stuck in my throat like a billiard ball. Let me in, to whom I say, otherwise it will be worse. I swallowed, forced it out. Who are you, and what do you want? Pause. And then, who's who? Beelzebub in a coat. And laughter. Hoarse, ragged, with a grunt. It immediately became colder in the dugout. The flame in the furnace wavered as if it was being sucked into an invisible mouth. The door shook from the impact. Then another one. Stronger every time. You bastard, he growled. I started to pray to myself, but then the voice outside the door began to change. One is the boss from work, with the usual contempt in his tone. The other is the father, with a tired, almost affectionate, "Son, open." And my feet moved to the door on their own. I could already feel the cold metal of the bolt in my hand. But the thunder struck so close that the walls shook. I woke up, covered my ears, and began to pray aloud all the prayers I knew, mixed with a cry to the Lord. I don't know how long it lasted, but suddenly everything went quiet. The cold is gone. The flame in the stove began to dance again, casting warm reflections on the walls. I felt like I'd been carrying sacks of cement for 3 days. I felt dizzy and slid down the wall to the floor. The knocks woke me up. Others are already confident and fast. And a human voice. Hey! Is anyone alive? I jerked, got up, and peered through the window. Daylight was shining outside. A man in a hunting jacket stood in front of the door. Yes, there is, I replied hoarsely. Are you okay? Yes, yes, it's fine. A minute later, I was already sitting in his car, wrapped in a blanket, and drinking hot chamomile tea. You're giving it to me, kid, to spend the night in the woods, in a thunderstorm, in a damn dugout. Certain death. The damned. It's obvious that you're not from around here. A long time ago, in this dugout, a witch met with evil spirits in a thunderstorm. The locals then burned it. But they didn't tell the hell about it. They come here in a thunderstorm, for old time's sake. A lot of hunters were missing before we realized what was what. He looked at me seriously. You're lucky, kid, that they didn't take it. I looked out the window at the blackening hill in the distance, where the dugout was hiding. Lucky, I repeated softly.